Nippon Hoso Podcast Station.
Today's phrase is 皆さん、一旦外に出ましょうか。はい。In English, it's everyone, why don't we all step outside for a second? Don't. I just want to say thank you, Geto Suguru, for saving my life. Anime English Club with Sal Yamaki. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of the Anime English Club. I'm your host, Sal Yamaki. よろしくお願いします。Hi. We talked about Jujutsu Kaisen last week. We talked a bit too much about Jujutsu Kaisen last week. Anybody who has a job who's listening to this, I have a perfect phrase from Jujutsu Kaisen from Nanami. It's ここからは時間外労働です。知ってますか? There's this phrase that this character Nanami says. ここからは時間外労働です。I feel like you can use this as your workplace, at your workplace as well. It means from here on out, it's overtime. Like I'm working overtime. So if you have, should you say it in a Japanese company? Like ここからは時間外労働です。Okay, short story. I got in trouble from my management one time. So Jujutsu Kaisen has these like stamps that you can use from this messenger program called LINE. LINE っていうのに there's a lot of stamps you can send to people with the popular phrases that come from Jujutsu Kaisen. And one of the stamps was from Nanami of like ここからは時間外労働です. Whenever my manager would send me like work-related messages past midnight, I would literally send them that stamp like I'm working overtime right now. Like because you guys are sending me messages past midnight. I actually got called into the office. Yeah, they held a whole entire meeting being like what do you mean? Like, you're working overtime. Like, what do you think we're doing when we're sending that message? Like, we're also working overtime. So for you to send that message to us saying you're working overtime is very disrespectful. And I'm like, I was just trying to be funny with my Jujutsu Kaisen stamps, but I didn't know this was going to be a whole entire, like, 2-hour meeting, like, about my, attitude problems? Yeah, they Be careful who you use these like stamps on. I thought we were kind of close, like that manager and I thought we were buddies. So I thought she knew I wasn't being serious. So I thought, I could use these like line stamps to her, but no, apparently I couldn't. I literally got a 2-hour meeting. They even locked the door and everything. I was held hostage. Yeah, they were literally like, what do you think we're doing? Like, if we're sending that message overtime, like that means we're also working overtime as well. I'm like, well then don't. Like if you don't want to work overtime, then don't. Like you could have sent that message in the morning as well. Like why are we even here? You know what? That's the hard thing. Idols and just like people in the entertainment industry in general, there is no like overtime. Like you're currently working, right? So like overtime doesn't even exist. But to me, the second I clock out of rehearsals, I'm out. Like I don't want to hear anything. So I was like using that stamp and I got in so much trouble. Yeah, I cried. I was like, I didn't mean to. Like I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I thought it was funny. But yeah, it was like a misunderstanding. Like apparently they thought that I was using that stamp like as a literal meaning, as in like, don't talk to me, talk to the hand, like, they thought I was being cocky, but like, I explained it being like, no, I thought, it was a funny stamp, but yeah, and they understood afterwards, but like, before that, I was like, Whenever I'm contacting my friends, and when I want to hang out with them after work, but whenever rehearsals, like, ends up being longer, than it was planned, I would send that stamp to my friends being like, I'm being held hostage again, like I'm working overtime again. Yeah. And there's also 私たちは最強なんだ, the phrase from last week, 最強なんだ no stamp as well. I use that to my managers whenever they message me about something like a work that might be challenging, and they'll send me messages being like, do you think you can do this? Like, are you okay? I'd send them that stamp being like, yeah, because I'm the strongest, I can do it. Yeah. So, yeah, I recommend the Jujutsu Kaisen stamps. You can use it everywhere. Anyway, that was a long-ass icebreaker. All right, let's get into this episode. We have another episode of Jujutsu Kaisen for you today as well. So Jujutsu Kaisen was created by Gege Akutami with the manga starting serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump in 2018. The anime began airing in 2020 and has become a massive global hit. Jujutsu Kaisen follows high school student Yuji Itadori, who's kind and physically gifted. After finding a cursed finger belonging to the ancient sorcerer Ryomen Sukuna, Yuji swallows it, literally disgusting, to save his friends from attacking curses, becoming Sukuna's host and entering a world of sorcery and exorcism. Hi. Very, very unsanitary to swallow that finger. It literally looked disgusting, but he swallowed it to save the world and save his friends. And yeah, I applaud him, but I don't think I could ever. If you guys Google what the finger looks like, it's like it's like a tiny shriveled up finger. And I'm like, why would you eat that? But one of the characters, Nobara, also has the same reaction as me. Like whenever she hears that Yuji ate the finger, she's like, ew, unsanitary. But yeah. All right, so talking a bit too much in the opening, let's get to today's phrase. Today's phrase is 皆さん、一旦外に出ましょうか. Hi, in English, it's everyone, why don't we all step outside for a second? Dun 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 dun. Hi, this line is taken from episode 29, so basically season 2 of episode 5. Hi, the very powerful sorcerer, Suguru Geto, says this line to a group of villagers who are mistreating 2 young girls. It turns out these girls are also sorcerers. He delivers the line very coolly and calmly as though he is being diplomatic, which makes what happens next even more shocking. What do you think happens next? That's right, he kills everybody. Nice. Good for you. I would have done the same as well. Honestly. Yeah, so these villagers were literally using these girls as like punching bags. Like they were bruised up, and they were saying that like ever since these girls like came into this village, like so many like cursed spirits or like these like demons start to show up, like these monsters are starting to show up. And Geto is like trying to explain that like no, it's not these girls that are producing it, it's like they're just curses, and they're actually like good girls that could get rid of these curses, but the people in the village don't listen at all and they don't understand it, and Geto Suguru is just done with everybody's bullshit. He's like, we're done. Like that's why this line in general and how he says it is very significant. Like he doesn't shout until then, like while he's fighting the curses and everything, like when he's fighting Toji and stuff, like you can kind of see that he raises his voice sometimes, but yeah, right before he kills off the villagers, like he's so calm about it, and you can see that like he's done. Like this scene kind of is the last scene where you can just see that Geto Suguru is like he's done with everything, and that's why I chose this phrase. He says it so politely as well, and like the more polite you are in this situation, in these kinds of situations, the more scarier it seems, you know? So, yes, let's get into the vocabulary. Hi. So, step outside. Hi. I feel like step outside is very, it's also a polite way of saying like, let's take it outside. So if you're at a bar or something, and if you're like trying to fight these people, like these rugged people, you'd be like, hey, yeah, let's take it outside, because, you know, you're trying to fight them and you see them as like the same level as you. So you would say take it outside. But Geto Suguru, I feel like because he sees these villagers as like nobodies and like somebody who's like below him, he's like, let's step outside, like, shall we? You know, like as if he's a teacher talking to his students, you know? Yeah, so the word step outside is very significant. He uses it too, Gojo Satoru as well, whenever they're fighting in the classroom. He's like, let's take it outside. So when he's talking to Gojo Satoru, who he thinks is the same level as him, he says, take it outside. Like, hey, like, why don't we take this fight outside? But to these villagers, he's like, hey, let's step outside for a bit. So yeah, that kind of shows how emotionless he is about this whole entire situation. It's so sad. Yeah, but if you're at a bar, I advise you to say take it outside. No, you know what? If you're at a bar, I don't advise you to say anything at all, actually. But if you have to fight, the phrase you would say is take it outside. Take it outside は結構なんか表出ろ。日本語にもありますよね。It's a popular phrase in Japan as well. When you're trying to fight somebody, you're like 表出ろ, which is a literal translation of take it outside. So, yeah. Well, how would you say it in Japanese though? 表に出ましょうかね。ちょっと表に出ましょうかね。外に行きましょうか。Yeah, so he's very, very polite about it, which makes it so terrifying. Like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, oh, snap, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, he's mad. So, also, you know, when your parents or your teachers are mad at you, the more disappointed they are in you, the more calm they are, you know? Like, even in relationships, if your girlfriend is still shouting at you, that means you still have a chance to fix that relationship because that means she cares about you, you know? Like, she's like, why don't you understand, you know? She's putting so much emotion into her words. But the second she's like, okay, yeah, okay, if that's what you think, that's cool. You're done. That relationship is over. You cannot fix it. So it kind of has the same context here. Like, Geto Suguru is like, he's done. Like, this relationship is over. My guy right here. Yes. And also, vocabulary number 2. So when he says, everybody, why don't we all step outside for a second? He says, we all. So emphasis on, he could have just said, why don't we step outside for a bit? They translated into all, なんだろう, to emphasize, like, literally every single one of you pieces of shit. Literally all of you. Like, minasama gata, みたいな. Like, yeah, he wanted to emphasize, like, literally, like, not leaving anybody, like, back. Like, literally every single one of you stupid villagers, like, I want you guys out. So I think that's why he said, let's, like, why don't we step outside for a bit? Like, why don't we all step outside for a bit? You know? Yes. Hi. So in this case, you can say we, but if you want to emphasize, like, literally every single one of you, we can say we all. Hi. Which, apparently the dub version is much simpler. So everyone, let's step outside is the dub version. But I think that's because the syllables fit perfectly with 皆さん一旦外に出ましょうか. Like, 皆さん一旦外に出ましょうか. Well, everyone, let's step outside. Like, the length is probably the same. Like, I think I said it in another episode a few weeks back. Whenever, you know, the voice actors try to dub English line, they need to make it shorter or longer to fit the mouth of the Japanese character movements. So I feel like that's why they made it a lot simpler. Everyone, let's step outside. They kind of took out the whole polite Geto Suguru. Yeah, so, but I guess in the dub, they could take out the polite vocab because they can make it polite with the way he says it. So you can put emotion into your words. So that's why I don't think they need to explain it much in words. But in the manga version, it was Let's all step outside for a moment, shall we? So the shall we in this case is the polite part. So yeah, if shall we wasn't there, would have been pretty casual, you know, not very Geto Suguru like, but shall we is probably the 出ましょうか. So 出ましょうか is really なんだろう丁寧. It's like the most polite way to say let's take it outside. So by putting shall we, I feel like they tried to match the energy of the Japanese version. Yeah, so like shall we dance, you know. Shall we dance is such a popular word in Japan, guys. Like everybody uses it. I don't know why everybody uses it, but everybody's like, hey, shall we dance? I'm like, that, I don't know. Oh, it's from a popular movie. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, now I understand. Thank you. I get it. No, I will not dance, by the way. Hi. But yes, this phrase basically really tells you what kind of personality Geto Suguru has. Like, he has a very polite personality. Even his ichininsho, his first person way of speaking. For instance, Gojo Satoru uses ore, and Geto Suguru uses watashi, which is like a really polite way of speaking. And he advises Gojo Satoru to stop saying ore in front of his seniors because it's not that polite, you know, it's a bit too casual. So he's like, you should change it to boku, which is kind of like, I guess, a weaker way of saying oneself, you know? Like, it's not as casual, like, yeah. So yeah, when he says, 皆さん一旦外に出ましょうか, like, you know, the way he's speaking, like, shows that he has a good heart, like, he was always so polite, and because he was so polite, he was just so done with everybody. It's always the, like, quiet people who don't really say their feelings much, like, the second they snap, it's like, it's scary. Yeah. はい。ということで、let's move on to the pronunciation. So, 日本語 this week's phrase is 皆さん一旦外に出ましょうか. In English, everyone, why don't we all step outside for a second? One more time. Everyone, why don't we all step outside for a second? Woo! What's gonna happen? Hi. So, I think everyone, I guess, is the hard word we should probably focus on. Everyone. So whenever I hear Japanese people trying to pronounce everyone, they tend to say every, like, they pronounce the V-E-R too much. Try focusing on just pronouncing, like, every as an E-V-R-Y. Like, ignore the E, like, every. Like, like a phone vibration, like oh. So pretend you just got a phone call from somebody that you were not expecting. Like, you weren't even expecting a phone call. So you're like, eh? Diwa, I don't know. Diwa, it's on you. Just practice. I'm helping you out with the first half. So, every. Hi, every. English, you know what, just in general, just try speaking as if you're tired. Japanese people tend to pronounce every single word, and that's too much. So just be like, every. Yeah. And that's it. Don't we? Why don't we? Don't say don't we. Use it as one word, like don't we. Why don't we? Don't we? Hi, this. Don't you pretend it's one word. Don't we? And we all pretend like it's one word, I guess. We all. Why don't we? We all. なんだろう? We all. What's hard about we all? Can you pronounce we all?
We all.
all になるんですね. It sounds like okay, so if you can't speak English, we all. It's not all. We all. Not we are. We all. Okay, it's not even an A, it's not an O, it's like a UH. All. We all. You know, like, Like, pretend you're a pelican. You're a pelican again, and you have like water here. You're like, we all. We all.
We all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So pretend you're a pelican. We all. You have water here. All right. And there we have it. Let's go. Hi. I hope you guys got the pronunciation. This.
今からロングコートダディのうさぎが番組 CM の原稿を読むぜ。心して聞きな。
僕たちロングコートダディオールナイトニッポンポッドキャストやってます。8月の毎週土曜日18時頃ラジコや日本放送ポッドキャストステーションで配信中です。どうやった？
ごめん、聞いてなかった。
聞いとけよ。
アニメイングリッシュクラブ with サリー・アマキ。
Culture context. Oh no, I already talked about 僕と俺さっき話しちゃった。So the 一人称, like the first person speaking form, you know, there's so many ways, like 僕、俺、私. And yeah, depending on the character, I think Itadori Yuji also uses 俺 and 乙骨裕太 uses 僕. So in anime, a lot of the times, the characters that are a bit on like the weaker side, like not strength-wise, because Okotsu Yuta is obviously very strong. He's like, he's super strong. But like how they present themselves, you know? Like if they're not very like super masculine, then they, a lot of the anime characters would use boku, which is why it is so significant for Gojo Satoru to use boku. Like it... Like he usually uses ore, but like when he uses boku, I'm like, oh my gosh! He doesn't seem like the type to use boku, but like, I don't know. It's like a very kyun pointo. It's a kyun pointo. Like when somebody uses like a form of like, when somebody speaks in a way that is kind of out of character, that's kind of like kyun, you know? Like, yeah. So Gojo Satoru, ever since Geto Suguru told him to use boku in front of his like seniors or in front of people to sound more polite, he's been using boku. But whenever he's angry, whenever he's about to go down on business, he uses ore, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's when you know. When Gojo Satoru uses ore, like that's when you know shit is about to go down and nobody will survive. Yeah, get your funeral ready. Yes. So, very significant part of anime. はい。私と私も違いますよね。なんか私、but なんだろう。Did I talk about this in Oran High School maybe? The Oran High School episodes. Yeah. So if you guys want to know more deeply about like the first person speaking forms, please go watch the Oran High School episodes. It is still up. はい。です。I would love to talk more about Jujutsu Kaisen, but we have 2 more weeks of Jujutsu Kaisen. I just want to say thank you, Geto Suguru, for saving my life. Honestly, whenever I'm having any hard times, I'm like, well, it's not as hard as, you know, Geto Suguru watching all his peers die. Like, you know, like, yeah, my life is hard right now, but Geto Suguru had it worse. And it makes me feel better, you know? Like, it makes me overcome whatever wall I'm facing right now, because I'm like, yeah, this day, like, my day right now is kind of rough. But let's talk about Geto Suguru and what he had to go through that day, and it makes me feel a lot better. And there was this one time when I was walking to work with one of my best friends, Moya Suzuhana, and I don't know, I was kind of like emotionally tired that day, and I was crying, and I was talking about like, you know, what I was going through to Moy. But halfway through, I was like, you know what? It's good for me because I actually have a friend I can talk to and I can like vent to. But can we talk about Geto Suguru, because Geto Suguru had to hold this in like all by himself. And I'm like, I can't even imagine, because like right now I'm crying and I'm basically letting it all out to you, and I still feel terrible. So like I can't imagine what he had to go through as a teenager. People forget he's a teenager. He was just a child. He needed to be protected, but nobody was able to protect him. Oh my gosh. What were the adults doing, honestly? I think it's the system that failed him. I wouldn't have failed him. And that's why I'm here for him right now. Yeah. But yeah, spoiler alert. Stop this video if you don't want to hear it. Sugeto Suguru does die. Yes, he dies. He dies. So whenever I go on vacation, I bring his acrylic stand around and I show him the world. Yeah, just because he can't anymore, because he's dead. So I do it for him, you know? I'm like, hey, Geto, this is Singapore. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, this is Seattle. This is Chicago. Yeah, you would have seen it if you were alive. So this is another reason why I take the acrylic stand everywhere. It's because he's dead and he can't see anything. The last 10 years of his life, he was so focused on trying to collect curses. I'm like, you know what? In the afterlife, I'm gonna show you what the world is. So yeah, volunteer work. I'm doing charity work for him. All right. So thank you. That's it for this episode of the Anime English Club. Next episode, wow, surprise, surprise, we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Hi. We're going to be exploring a phrase from the Shibuya incident. Oh my gosh. You thought the arc before that was brutal. No. This is where everything goes down. Woo. All right. I hope you guys are ready. But if you're not, it's okay. We'll cry together. See you next week. Hi. So we at the Anime English Club want to hear from you. So if there's any anime that you want me to talk about, maybe if you guys send me more anime recommendations, I wouldn't have to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen for 4 weeks. So if you're tired about this is basically your fault. So if you want me to change the topic, please send me more anime recommendations, or else this podcast will literally turn into a Jujutsu Kaisen and Haikyuu podcast for the rest of the year. Alright, so I want to hear from you. I will be waiting. Or just any general, English grammar questions. I will try to answer it at my best. So please email us at aec@1242.com. That is aec@1242.com. You can email me in either Japanese or English. And our podcast also has a YouTube channel, so please support it by liking and subscribing it. We have subtitles both in English and Japanese, so please turn it on if you want to know what I'm saying. Go to youtube.com/@anime-english-club or just search Anime English Club. And the podcast now also has a transcripted version. We have subtitles, the English subtitles only. The Japanese subtitles aren't on there yet, but on Apple or Spotify, the podcast now has a transcripted version of this podcast as well. So please follow along what I'm saying and try to, learn more vocab, because I'm using a lot more vocab than the phrases that I'm trying to teach. So yes, please stay tuned and follow what I'm saying as well. Okay, I talked a lot today, but thank you so much for staying with us. I still think he's the strongest, even if nobody believes in him. I believe in him, so please come back next week. Please come back next week. I know I talked too much about Jujutsu Kaisen, but please, next week is so much fun too. So see you next week. Oh no. See you next week.
From the Nippon Hoso Podcast Station, this is the Anime English Club, hosted by me, Sal Yamaki. This episode was directed by Kensuke Yoshida and was produced by Shiori Tanaka of Nippon Broadcasting System, Japan.